Welcome back to Josh's Smart Home. Today, you're going to be getting the VIP tour. And if you saw my tour before, do not miss this one because I've added a lot of devices since last year. I now have over 300 devices. I'm going to talk about the different gadgets I have, talk about some of the automations, and let you know how my house has made my life easier. If you're new to Josh's Smart Home, I want to welcome you in and let you know that I've been building out my smart home for about 10 years now, and I want to share with you what I've learned along the way to make your home smarter. So let's get to it. We're going to start right out front here. You can see the Reolink video doorbell, as well as up on the top, we have the Govee permanent outdoor lights. So I'm going to show you a clip of those at night as well. Next, we have the Tesla solar and power walls. And here you can see the 4 power walls I have outside of my house. I do have some videos about those if you want some more in-depth information regarding the installation and the purchasing process, as well as what we found after a year of owning them. As we move around the house, there's a plethora of Reolink cameras because they are my favorite camera to use. I have a dozen or 2 dozen cameras around the house, so there's all kinds of use of those. And now we're down around the pool. You can see the Govee string lights, and I'll show you what they look like at night, as well as the Wybot S2 solar. This thing has kept our pool so clean. And the other item we utilize for the pool is the Micro Sonoff switch. And this thing allows us to have a timer that runs not only our filter and pump, but also our chlorinator. And that's really important for a saltwater pool like we have, because we need to monitor how often it runs. So I actually have automation set up to monitor how much it runs so that overnight during our cheapest power time, we can run it the appropriate amount of time, and then it has the right amount of time to chlorinate the pool for the 24-hour period at that point. As I said, there's a plethora of cameras like this one that's watching me. Before we fade away. As well as this solar-powered camera that frequently catches the deer that walk through our yard. And last but certainly not least, this Yarbo lawn robot. Not only does it mow my lawn, but it's already snow blown my driveway during the winter and used the snowplow, as well as resurrecting the tallest of these trees, including this tree right here. Yeah, it really did pull this tree up by itself. And when a similar sized tree died, it was able to pull it to the back of our property all by itself. So you put in on that tow hitch, and this thing is powerful. Now we're in the garage, and I have this bug attractor plugged into a smart outlet so we can have it running when it's dark out here. We, of course, have another Reolink camera and the first of many Lutron switches you're going to see here. We do have the MyQ system on the garage doors, but I'm not a fan of those. So instead I did this. I wired it up with the mirror system. Much better, connects right through the Apple HomeKit integration into Home Assistant. So I have total local control. And we have a pair of plug-in vehicles. We have the Tesla Model Y, as well as the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. And I just use a dumb Grizzly charger for these because I utilize the tech in the vehicles. And here I'm going to take a quick break in the pantry just to remind you that not all smart home tech has to be super smart. In here, we have a dumb switch, but it is a motion sensor switch. So when you walk into the pantry, the light's on. When nobody's in here, it turns back off. It's really all you need. You don't have to get too fancy. We also do have a window monitor in here, an open-close sensor, so we do have that type of security throughout the house. In our half bath, we don't have a whole lot of tech either, but again, another open-close sensor. As we move through the hallways in the kitchen, you're going to see lots of Lutron switches. They're definitely my favorite. We have them here and right here, so they're really everywhere in this setup. We have another bug device, so of course we have another smart plug. And we have the smart plugs for the fish, so we can handle the light and everything of the fish without ever having to think about it, as well as the Narwhal Frio Z Ultra, my favorite of the smart home vacuums and mops up to this point. I'm going to be checking out some other ones in the future, so make sure you like and subscribe. If you aren't already subscribed, it really helps me out, and make sure that you don't miss those future videos. Under the fridge, under the sink, and under the dishwasher, we have smart leak sensors so that we always know if there's water leaking and we can take the appropriate action. And last, but certainly not least in our smart kitchen, is the sous vide. This thing is pretty amazing. We're not a big fan of buying the meals from them, but to meal prep and put them in here, and you can put it in the night before and have it ready to go for your dinner the next day after work, is amazing. And between the kitchen and living room, we have this Google Home Hub, which is really the center to our Google Home. In the living room, of course, we have more Lutron switches, and that runs all of our lights in here as well as our ceiling fan. And our TV is a Google TV, so we can turn that off from anywhere or change the volume, that type of thing, right from the Google Home app. And last but not least, in the living room, we have the Ecobee. This thing is amazing. It integrates through Apple HomeKit directly into Home Assistant, allowing me to have full control, which is key to my smart home. Of course, in the foyer area, we have more of Lutron cassetta switches, and we have the open close sensor on this door, which I failed to mention, we have those throughout the kitchen and living room and dining room and everywhere else in the house as well. One of the reasons that you see these Lutron cassetta switches all over my house is they're so versatile. In fact, this one isn't even a real switch. There's no hole in the wall or anything here. It's just the remote with the switch housing around it so that it looks like it's authentic, but it's really just a remote. Works perfectly anywhere you need a switch, but you didn't have one. In the office, we really have the brains of the smart home. We have the Home Assistant up here. We have the Unify U6 for our wireless. We have the Reolink NVR. We have the Reolink Home Hub for testing purposes. We have the Unify Dream Machine Special Edition here. We have the Synology NAS. We have the Motorola to run the Xfinity. And we also have some of the stuff for over-the-air recording via our Tableau, which we don't typically use right now because I am subscribed to YouTube TV at this point. We, of course, have the Lutron cassetta switches in here for the light and the ceilings fan, as well as these really cool Blinds Magic smart blinds. I have put these in several rooms of my house, and they are really neat. I love having smart blinds in my house. In the kids' rooms, we of course have more Lutron cassetta switches and more of the Blinds Magic smart blinds, because why not? Additionally, in all of the bathrooms, we do have leak sensors at the toilets and below the sinks. Also in the kids' rooms, we have the Govee lights around the beds, so it's light in the perfect place when they need it, and it can match their mood. Also in the kids' room, we have these Govee lights behind the TVs with a camera in the front. So what it allows it to do is see what colors are on the TV and put that same color on the wall behind to create an immersive experience. In the laundry room, of course, we have some Lutron cassetta switches. This other switch is just a dumb switch. It's for the attic above, so it never gets used. We also do have motion sensors, which there's a few more of those throughout the hallways and other places in our house that allow for us to have the motion sense lighting and have lighting that proceeds, in front of you as you move throughout those rooms. So it's a pretty neat setup. We also have a leak sensor for the washer in case there's any issue in a leak. And we have the smart plug for the washer because these are smart appliances, but they don't always integrate properly with Home Assistant. So as a backup, I have the smart plug as well. So I can monitor the wattage used. And then if it dips below a certain point after it exceeded a certain point, I know that the washer is done if it stays there for a certain amount of time. And that's just based on testing with our particular appliances. Again, these are smart appliances, the washer as well as the dryer, they're GE profile, and they integrate with the Smart HQ app. So you can control them with the app, but it's not always 100% when you're trying to use Home Assistant with these. So I do have it broadcasting usually when it finishes, but every once in a while it just disconnects for no real reason. We're now in the master bedroom, and again, some more Lutron switches and more Lutron switches. And we have more Blinds Magic smart blinds in here as well. So the switches control the lights as well as the ceiling fan. And then we have a remote for the Blinds Magic smart blinds, as well as the fact they integrate with Zigbee. So directly in our Home Assistant, so we can control them from our phone through automations or from Google Home. So this is in our walk-in closet. And here's another example where a smart home doesn't need to be too smart. A simple motion switch does the trick in here. But in places like the shower, where it makes sense to monitor motion and humidity, we of course utilize the Lutron cassetta switches and the motion sensors with the humidity sensor built into them. In our basement, Of course, more Lutron cassette switches, open-close sensors, and motion sensors to keep everything moving. I did do a video where I talk about how I set it up, where once I'm moving into a room or somebody else is moving into a room, it turns on the lights in that room and the adjacent rooms, so it's always lighting the path in front of you. It really makes my kids feel at ease and keeping them in the light. In our basement closets and utility rooms, I did install some of these GE switches, so they're not my favorite switches, and I swore I wasn't ever going to install them again, but for these less frequently used rooms, I've taken the chance on these, and so far so good, given that we're on backup power if we ever lose the power from the grid with our Tesla solar and power walls, because I think that's what was killing these before. We'd lose electricity and then the spike coming back through would just kill these things. I utilize motion sensors as well as door and window sensor, like open close sensor on the door, to figure out when people are in these areas and turn the lights on or off appropriately. And this room, not only are these the ceiling lights from this switch, but also we have like a fluorescent light that's an LED above the one table in this room. So we have a smart outlet for that. We have several Mitsubishi mini splits in the basement here for our heating and air conditioning that we have. And I've utilized some of the IR blasters to be able to control these in our smart home. I did give a theater tour in a recent video, so I'm not going to go in there and reiterate all of that. If you want to check that out, check the link up here. You can check out that video. I do have a Shelly controlling the light here for the soda machine, but I still haven't gotten that working properly. It tends to have issues turning back on after it's off. I've tried several different models, talked to the company, and just never spent the time to really get that nailed down. But every time I've tried, it's been a failure with that extra, I guess, capacitor that it utilizes or something like that. And throughout this area, we do have the leak sensors, making sure that if anything's leaking from the soda machine or the sink over here, that we catch that right away and don't have a big issue on our hands. This is the third and final bug catcher we have in our house, because we have pool parties over the summer with the doors opening and closing, the flies and such can get in. So we want to prevent that from being a major issue. So we utilize these smart plugs on these. And in the bar area, we have the Aqara M2 hub, as well as a Google Home and an Amazon Assistant right here. And with our dehumidifiers in our basement, we don't want them to run all the time. We want them to run during our least energy cost time. So we do have smart plugs on these that are monitored and turn those on and off as appropriate, as well as if the grid goes down, these are some of the first things that cut. That way we don't use up our power dehumidifying the basement when we could have food spoiling, or maybe we're uncomfortable because it's really hot outside and we need some air conditioning. So we can cut the power from those automatically with our automations. And you can see several more Lutron cassette switches. But another really cool aspect of Lutron cassette switches is that you have this little button in the middle in the remotes, and this allows me to do other automations. So you can see when I press this button right here, it lights up all of the LED lights in the basement. And this allows us to have all these kind of automations where it's one simple click and it can do half a dozen things all at once. Finally, in the basement, we have another Narwhal Frio Z Ultra. Again, it's my favorite vacuum and mop at this point. Definitely worth the money. There you have it. You got a full tour of my smart home, and you got to see all the cool gadgets that make my home smarter, more convenient, and in my opinion, a lot more fun. Let me know in the comments section what intrigued you the most. I'm always up for talking about smart homes, so I love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video and you want to make sure you don't miss the future videos, including smart home tours, smart home product reviews, and other general smart home information, then hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.